The couple is enjoying a happy moment at big show with lots of food and fun things to do celebrating their wedding yearly recognition or celebration. But nearby a group of tough criminals snap a photo of the scene and mean, teasing statement, Dan written statements and immediately steps asking them to delete the picture since it's a private moment between him and his wife. Hey, that picture you just took, it was kind of a private moment. Omen deleting it. Yeah, I do the tough criminal offices as Dan approaches too angrily face. Stand up, Totham, the tough criminal. Teasingly in a mean way uploads the photo to social media. Dan's wife, Tristo, convince him to let it go. But secretly she wishes he would stand up for himself instead. Don just stares at tough criminal doing nothing the next memento, even though he's been embarrassed in front of many people. Dan holds his ground and walks away back home. He washes up, but as he lets embed the image of the insult keeps his mind, it's not that he can defend himself, he just doesn't want Torres losing the peaceful happy life. Heyhas Dan is the top salesman at a car dealership in Buffalo, New York. He's the best in his team. You're behind the wheel off a high-performance car like this. They know you are that guy. You have a fat life. He and his wife have a happy life, and today is their wedding yearly recognition or celebration. Even though his boss asks him to take photos for the company, he refuses and rushes home to spend the day with his wife. Happy yearly recognition or celebration. A baby, you remember. When he gets home, he's greeted by Jessica and their 3 kids, Mikhail and Max. Jessica is in the middle of a disagreement with a brother. College choice and had planned on going to Stanford for newspaper writing. But no, she's decided to go to Southern Iowa University with her boyfriend. Trevor happened to newspaper writing in Stanford. Wasn't that the dream? Newspaper writing is deaded. Is that something that Trevor Sater? Jessica asked Aiden to talk to Nay, but stands firm in her decision. Dan suggests taking Jessica out to celebrate their 18th wedding yearly recognition or celebration. He asks Skyway to supervise a baby Max, but Kyle has other plans and refuses, pushing their responsibility on to Na, who isn't too happy about it. What? Because I'm a woman? That is not what I'm saying. That's sexically what you're saying, right? No, what is wrong with you? Meanwhile, Kyle skips out on his group project to meet friend Samir. After paying Samir some money, they hang out in Samir's garage playing online games. Kyle is known in line as Killboy, a well-known gamer with a huge following, famous for his skills in shooting games. Meanwhile, Dan and Jessica head to the big show with lots of food and fun things to do. Jessica, a little annoyed with Dan because Hellway sticks to his usual plans while she hopes he'll plan a family vocational one, makes a better week planner than you do, but I don't know, maybe be a little bit more unplanned and sudden travel. And after a few rides, Dan agrees to plan the vacation, and Jessica is excited as Dacus. The scene from the beginning happens on the way home. Jessica calms Dan that she doesn't want him to angrily face stand up to the bullies. If I wanted Tomari a fighter, I would have, knowing how Mech, he hates violence but inside feels disappointed back home. He smoothly changes Max's diaper, then gets into bed and wakes Jessica up, talking quietly and unclearly that Hessold have kicked the guy's ass, which makes Jessica laughs. He totally could have taken a money the next day. Jessica practiced boxing to release her frustration. As a full-time mom, she faces a lot of challenges, including dealing with Nina's very hard choices while boxing she without any advanced planning. Punches a woman named Gwen. Jessica apologizes and explains that she's frustrated because of her husband never invites the family on vacation or spends time with them. I didn't know, sometimes, I guess. I just feel like I'm a little trapped. After talking for a bit, Gu says she has to catch a flight. She gives Jessica her business card. Gwen's a travel agent and offers to help her plan a vacation. Meanwhile, Dan and Max are shopping at the grocery store when a stranger suddenly attacks him. Dan quickly defends himself, but the tough criminal won't give up even with Max in front. Really, Dan excellently takes the criminal down, leaving everyone around stunned. He pretends nothing happens for the groceries and heads home. Dan opens a secret separate room, area, section, etc. filled with guns, expired passports, and piles of panics, and calls his old fellow, Krogi, to arrange new identities for his family, showing they're in danger. Giddles Dan that his former boss, McCaffrey, has been looking for him. Concerned, thoughts photo posted online might give away his location. Dan offers $500 for new *IDs and arranges to meet in Las Vegas in 3 days. Augie is shocked that Dan's family doesn't know his previous job. What I meant to do, sit him down. Whole story of a French toast. Oh hey kid, you know I passed some maple by way your dad was a government killer, and strongly encourages him to tell them the truth, otherwise running from the Spade soldiers with a family that do now what's going on will be nearly impossible. Later Dan goes to Nina school to find her in the magazine night editor's office, but she's not there. A student tells him quit her job 3 months ago and is now hanging out at the stadium with her friends. Dan finds Nather and tells her he's disappointed she didn't tell him she left the frustrated, explains Shekwit because her dad never read her articles. Definitely, as one would expect, I do, I always do, ______. Dan insists she come with him when he goes to pick up Kyle from school. Finds Kyle in Samir's garage playing a games. Dan, always angry people, Kyle, and tells him to get in the car, person who helps the enemy of a country, friend, etc. Once all kids are in the car, Dan drives topic up Jessica, who's working at the hospital. He announces they're going to Las Vegas for a vacation, which is exactly what Jessica had been wanting. Crazy, we're going to Vegas. Meanwhile, a black van starts following them when Dan written statements. He tries to shake the van, speeding up, but doesn't tell his family. He drives to his work's showroom, lifts car, and finds a watching and following device underneath. Don secretly places the in a car. His fellow worker is a buto test. He suggests to his fellow worker that they take the car for a heist bidis to identify a disease or it's caused the problem. Get on the freeway. You open her up and you get a ticket. It's on me. The people in the black van think they're still following Dan, but one end things settled down. Dan continues his trip to Las Vegas with his family. Back at Dan's house, Amanda McCaffrey and his 3 partners there. Trying to find Dan's family, it isn't easy. They have no credit card records to follow, and Dan's family hasn't posted anything on social media. McCaffrey suspects Dan hasn't showed, told Tabitha's true identity, so he quickly orders his men to continue the search for Dan's family. Meanwhile, during their hotel stay, Dan has a change of heart after seeing, hearing, becoming aware of that. Kyle has posted a photo with fans on social media. Don tells his family need to keep moving. This means his wife and kids have to spend the night in the car. Soon enough, 3 motorcyclists work for McCaffrey begin chasing after Dan's vehicle. Dan cranks up the music to keep his family unaware of the danger. Little Max is wide awake, giggling endlessly, almost as if he knows his dad has everything under control. Sudden lion of McCaffrey's men tries to shoot Dan, but Dan fires back and hits Hyman. The guy comes up and grabs onto Decker, but Dan stuffs Max's baby Valento, his helmet knocking him out as head tumbles onto the road. Finally, Dan rams his car into the criminal's motorcycle, taking out the last someone who chases after someone. Jessica wakes up after hearing an explosion, but Don tells her it was just a pothole. Head drives all night and decides to stop at a large farm with crops to rest. Just as he is a buto drift off, Nina wakes up and understands, makes real, achieves. They have arrived in Java. She asked Herded to take her to Southern Iowa University. Are you serious? Are we going to argue about this about you? Following a boy to college? Where she wants to meet their boyfriend after some arguing with Jessica. Don eventually agrees to take her to the campus as Na walks through the campus park with Kyle and Max. Kyle says that the family seems uneasy about her relationship with Trevor. Admits he misses the old Nahu was closer to the family. He treats you like ____. You deserve more. Touched by his words, Na smiles and thanks her brother for his concern. Meanwhile, Don listens as Jessica shares memories of her past as a pole vaulter and how she had to give up her asterisk dream after hurting her leg. Dan wants to share his own story, but holds back when he becomes aware of a suspicious man nearby carrying a small case to hold papers approaching the Manon campus. Dan discovers he is a German corn seed salesman looking for his daughter as they pass by the laboratory. Dan begins to doubt the man's story, asked him in German to confirm what isn't one of McFriesman. What did you just say? Where's the discotheque? Jessica is surprised to hear her husband speaking German and walks away. Down the hallway, travel path when the man opens a small case to hold papers full of corn seeds. Dan believes him. Suddenly one of McCaffrey's partners tries to shoot Dan. He quickly avoids into the lab where a fight breaks out. Dan calms McCaffrey's men, stays at the school dormitory, and without any advanced planning, walks into Trevor's room only to find him with Anather. Girl shocked and heartbroken, turns in tears. Dan tries to comfort her with his own stories but understands, makes real, achieves. She doesn't need another lecture from her dad. Instead he teaches her a martial arts move that causes intense pain without lasting harm, deciding to give Trevor a lesson by breaking up with him. Uses the move on Trevor, snaps a photo of his pain. A look of pain on the face, smile, and feels much better. Turns to the van more full of thanks, off her father than ever. The family heads to Las Vegas together. When they reach Colorado, Na takes over the driver's seat from her dad. She apologizes to Dan for forgetting to take her school magazine and promises to resume her role as the magazine's editor. She thanks him for not telling Jessica about it. And your biggest fan beans always have been and I always will be. The next day after night in Colorado, Dan contacts Augie and arranges to meet in Las Vegas to retrieve the family's passports sitting in a restaurant. Dan intends to tell Jessica about his past bet. Kyle interrupts him by explaining why he enjoys being an own. Kyle explains that he doesn't have a confidence in real life but has fun playing killboy games and many people like and respect him. When I'm Kyle, I'm too shy. Todic. 2 girls, I'm a nobody. When I'm killboy, I'm good dad. He also tries Toprov to his father. That gaming needs demands intelligence and quick reflexes. Kylathon challenges Dan to a laser tag game, specifically saying that if he wins, Dan can't stop him from gaming. If he loses, he'd quit. Hearing this, Dan agrees, and they head to the laser tag performing area. Unaware of Dan's skill with weapons, Kyle loses the Gamasili. Feeling down, Kyle is cheered up. Dan tries to lift his mood with a hug. After arriving in Las Vegas, Dan and his family go to their hotel room later. Dan meets Augie at the bar. Together, they go to pick up the new passports and plane tickets to Vancouver. After Dan returns to the room to prepare for dinner with Jessica Mackingser to bring some weapons just in case. For leaving, he tells the kids not to leave the room. You do not open that door for anyone. You got it? Screw that's right. Oh yeah. However, Kay, Nina, and Max sneak out to explore the hotel's online gaming area. Meanwhile, one of McCaffrey's asterisk men spots Dan and his family in Las Vegas and reports back to his boss. Picot, the gaming area, Kyle meets a professional player named Ren, who invites him to the restaurant to meet at their gamers. Dan tries to tell Jessica about his past, but when the waiter speaks to them in French, he inadvertently responds in French. Jessica is surprised to discover her husband knows 2 foreign languages, anything she hadn't yet known before. Lacking the courage to reveal the truth about his past life, he begins explaining French even though she doesn't understand what Don is saying. His speech incredibly charming. Meanwhile, Kyle is gearing up to play an online game. Ren asked him to take his place so he can chat with Na. Aware at that, McCaffrey's men are watching from a distance. After dinner, Jessica and Dan rotted to the hotel. Temporarily, Bullied be mannequins that look like their kids sleeping. To set the mood, Jessica used music and a love mist to create a romantic atmosphere. Thanks to the mist, Dan notices a laser sight and dodges a bullet. He throws a wine bottle and fires gun, igniting the attackers, but when McCaffrey's subordinate Coogan takes Jessica hostage, Dan quickly drops his weapon. Seizing an opportunity, Dan throws a knife that strikes Coogan in the air, skewing Jessica. That's normal, honey. Everybody barst first time. He then rushes to Thekad's room, only to find Nina and Theothos gone, searching for them at an online gaming venue. Jessica scolds Dan for keeping secrets and says she doesn't want to see him again. Meanwhile, Kyle wins the online gaming competition and becomes MVP soon after. Jessica and Daenerys at the gaming area to pick up Kyle and the others. Once they reach Asif Place, Dan reveals his past as a secret assassin who had escaped his group to live as an ordinary man since Ethan McCaffrey and his men have been hunting him down. Kyle and Nina, upon hearing this, obviously don't believe him until gunshots ring out. Dan hurriedly tells the family to hide in the casino. He tries to take down McCaffrey's men, but his bullets can't harm them because they wear bulletproof vests. Dan continues to distract them and eventually defeats them. Afterwards, Heck confesses to his family that his real name is Sam. He had served in the military and McCaffrey recruited him for special missions to eliminate. Beyond the La Havre, Sam soon realized McCaffrey was using him to kill and collect hefty fee, so he decided to run away. McCaffrey then began hunting him, threatening his family's safety. Well, how many 26 you feel? 26 people, 39 people. That's more Sam. Them with new identity passports. However, Kyle and Na are upset, thinking Sam has ruined their lives. After 18 years of marriage, Jessica feels angry and betrayed, so she contacts Gwen, planning to leave Las Vegas for a vacation. When Jessica and her kids meet Gwen, they are surprised to find she has arranged a private plane for them on that plane. Gwen tells Jessica about her ex in Buffalo. They were together for years and left her to marry another woman, and the worst part, she's insufferable. Begins to Gwen is talking about Dan. When they arrive at their destination, Jessica intends to leave with the kids. Suddenly, McCaffrey confronts them. Gwen has set a trafficking over Sam's family to McCaffrey in exchange for Dan's return. I just want he's my payment for delivery. Macri then takes Jessica and the children hostage, forcing Dan to meet him alone at the casino shortly after. McCaffrey contacts Dan and threatens to harm his family if he doesn't comply. When Dan arrives at the casino, men monitor his entry with drones. Don meets a man named Sprouse, who leads him to the room where McCaffrey accusing his family. Upon entering, Caffrey welcomes Don. No hug for your old man. I start now, Dad. During their conversation, the family learns that him is Dan's father. Oh my God, where British. McCaffrey wants Dan dead because he had left alone him, but over the past few days, Dan had eliminated every man McCaffrey sent after him, making him proud of his son. Now McCaffrey wants him back. If Dan returns to work for him will release his family, but under one condition: he can never see them again. You come back where you belong. Just send and kids go safely back to Buffalo. Dan agrees and Sprouse escorts Jessica and the others out of the room in the elevator. Cleverly uses Max's diaper to distract Sprouse and pushes him off the top floor. They hurry back to rescue Dan in the room. Dan pretends to be in love with Gwen, eventually knocking her unconscious to allow his family to escape. Dan apologizes to Jessica for keeping secrets and promises to always tell her the truth. Meanwhile, McCaffrey senses something is amiss and orders his men to be ready. Dan instructs Jessica and the kids to go to Theraptop and give the drone to Kyle. Howell help monitor partners and need to be that guy one last time for us. However, when McCaffrey's men wait by the elevator to take by force, take control of Dan and his family, find only Max's gear inside. As they inspect it, a bomb explodes, catching Theme off guard. With Kyle's help, Dante